here's some things I think don't exist. So if you're going to predict anything in the real world, here's some things not to use. I don't think self-esteem exists. There's really one scale, though Roman Taffarati made a self-esteem scale that's pretty good. But the standard one is the Rosenberg, and I can't remember how many items it has, 15 or something? Not enough items to really be reliable. I think there were, yeah, 25,000 published papers on self-esteem, figure 10 grand a paper, which is, you know, a comparatively conservative estimation, so you can do the math, 25,000 times 10,000, so that's the total amount of research funding that's gone into looking at self-esteem. It's like, well, what's self-esteem? It's a word, actually it's two words, right? But, you know, and it's sort of something you think you might have or not have, but that's a figure of speech. That's not an empirical phenomena. And so most of extroversion is just neuroticism, as it turns out. It's like if you have a lot of negative emotion, you don't feel that good about yourself. Well, isn't that a surprise? You have a lot of negative emotion. You know, and if you want to fix it up a little bit, then you can also subtract positive emotion from that, because if you have a lot of negative emotion and you don't have a lot of positive emotion, so that's neuroticism minus extroversion, then your self-esteem is even lower. You know, and then maybe over time conscientiousness starts to make a bit of a difference, right? Because if you're conscientious and you work hard, you can start to see that that's paying off, and Taffarati's done some work that seems to sort of indicate that. But, you know, the first thing that happened is everybody went on a self-esteem bender, even though the measures were pretty appalling, and even though you could, you know, model it with the big five. And then one of the things that happened as a consequence of that was that the whole California school system started to teach students self-esteem. It's like, A, what makes you think you should have high self-esteem? Like maybe you're a miserable little worm. God only knows, right? It's not the case that you should have a good opinion of yourself in every bloody situation. You know, what if you're a bully who pounds people out in the schoolyard? Bullies, by the way, do have higher self-esteem than normal. So because it's not like they're feeling bad about themselves when they pound you, they're feeling bad about you. And the best work, you know, the low self-esteem equals bully hypothesis, lots of people believe that, but if you read Dan Olweus, who's the world's leading authority on bullying and who's actually done something about it, what he says is that bullies have inappropriately high self-esteem, which is why they think they're in a perfectly good position to pound you out if you happen to be on the playground. So it's not like they're suffering from a, you know, neurotic weakness of self-image. It's quite the contrary. So anyways, in the California school system, they tried to teach kids self-esteem. And, you know, there's no evidence that you can do that first, because neuroticism is actually quite hard to shift. So, and if we knew how to treat it, well, hooray, everybody would be thrilled about that, but it's not easy.